Everybody, would like to welcome you to our first ever introduction, or we have these meetings all the time where we discuss client situations, client challenges, etc. And we have found that we wanted to invite you to these because so much good tech gets discussed. And then it's like, oh yeah, we need to put that in a client tech training. Oh yeah, we need to put this here. We just decided to have you here first time around when we get together in our executive meetings and just start talking shop. So we'd like to welcome you. Thanks for being here, and we'll go. What's our first order of business?
Jessica, say hi.
Hi. Hello.
I'm Brad. For all of you that don't know me, so these aren't going to be client-specific questions, but these are questions that came in recently, and so as I sit forward, I'm going to totally block you. This is terrible.
Let's do that. I'm going to pull up my notes that I made for myself also, so they may be able to be part of our conversation. One
of the first questions, and this is one actually, Merrill, that we get all the time, so I'm going to let you fill this one.
Okay.
Why is my Fingerhut account not good? Why is it a bad account?
Okay, first of all, God bless them. Fingerhut? I mean, just the name alone will degrade your credit profile. Just kidding.
I was just in a plan this morning that had 2 Fingerhut accounts, so.
Yeah, all right. So Fingerhut is, you know the tiers that we've discussed, right? There's 100% contribution to your score, tier 1, all the way to 40% contribution for a tier 4. So we always refer to the top left of our matrix and the bottom right. Fingerhut is the lowest possible version of a tier 4 40% card for several reasons. One, it's a revolving account that allows you to buy merchandise. Now, the reason why it's valued at 40% because it's a finance company card. Somebody is covering the paper for Fingerhut. And so FICO alone, think of it this way. If merchant cards and merchandise cards, if the markup is, let's say Home Depot, you buy a $50 shovel and it costs Home Depot $5 from China. But if you have a $1,000 limit, how much do they have on the line, right? How much does Home Depot and the finance company, when they lend $1,000, how much do they actually have on the line? They have $100, right? It's $200 if it's a 300 or 400% increase. So they don't have as much money on the line, so they're less valuable. Because Chase, Bank of America, a TD Bank are not going to lend true cash equivalent business lines of credit on a reputation where the markup is 5 or 10 times. Does that make sense? So when somebody comes up and say, hey, I like Fingerhut, I buy my little Christmas presents, my doodads from there, well, that's awesome, but FICO's job to lenders is to measure and quantify and qualify how sophisticated of a borrower you are. And if you're not a sophisticated borrower, if you are a consumer, and Fingerhut is just like all the other mall store cards when it comes to pure consumer. I'm a consumer, I buy consumer stuff on credit, they downgrade the value of that account and therefore the value of your credit profile. So anything online, it could be Fingerhut, it could be Amazon credit cards, PayPal credit cards, anything that has a slash in the credit report that says that a finance company bank, like a Syncopy Bank, a Credit One Bank, even if it's covered by Chase or Discover or anybody else, those are the finance company cards and they are not worth the plastic they're made out of, at least to your credit profile.
Now, follow up on that, Merrill. We got a message here from Nathaniel. How does a closed tier 4 affect your fundability in the underwriting process?
Okay, a closed one.
Closed tier 4.
Okay, so let's say you saw the light you did your optimization plan with your team, and it says to close it, you closed it, now what, right? Well, over the long haul, I'm going to say that that average age contribution diminishes at least by half. We don't know the exact number, but at least by half, a closed account diminishes. So your score will go up when your average age goes up. So it doesn't show up on your plan to close until the perfect time when we've replaced the points. So those points are contributing overall to your revolving account portfolio points, right? So our intention is to close it, and if we have the luxury of being able to dispute it, we ultimately, and it's not your oldest account, it's not contributing in any way, we ultimately want to dispute the account and try to remove it, even if it's positive. Here's why. Because it's evidence that you have been an unsophisticated borrower. Now, I'm up in the 90th percentile of strategies. You don't have to. We don't have to dispute it, and it doesn't have to be removed. Don't take it there. I'm saying that ultimately, over the course of 3, 5, 10 years, we want our profile to be so spectacular that there's no evidence of us ever being a consumer. And so the closed account lessens your negative drag by having Tier 4 closed, much better on your profile than a Tier 4 for 40% open. But if we can dispute it, if it fits within the rounds of our 4 dispute rounds, we're happy to attempt to dispute it because that is evidence of your unawareness of what true credit profile and fundability optimization is.
Meryl, I've got a kind of follow-up question. I have clients all the time asking me, what if their Tier 4 card is by far their oldest open account? We're talking about average age, so...
Yeah. Okay, so we got this directly from FICO. I mean, from God's mouth to my ears, right? FICO told us specifically, Ethan, told us specifically that... Sorry, Ethan, if you're watching. I know, we don't know if they're... How much of a fan they are. Yeah, we're not going to be invited back to FICO world, right? We're like, sorry. FICO said that there is, that you never want to close your oldest revolving account because the age of your oldest account determines significantly the maturity or the heft or the gravitas of your credit profile. If you close the oldest account, that oldest account ends up being, we lose, just like we talked about on the closing the Fingerhut or the Tier 4, we end up losing all of this valuable contribution. So we will keep, that's why some of you may have even run into this. You're like, I'm supposed to close all of my Tier 4 40% cards. Yes, except the oldest one. Now, what we also look for, don't tell anybody else. What we also look for, though, is we will look for a Tier 3 or a Tier 2 or a Tier 1 that's within 2 or 3 years of that oldest account. Yeah. Right? Because we don't lose a lot if our average age shortens by that much, just to get rid, we find that the negative drag by having an open Tier 4 is compensated for by still having that near as old Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. So on your plans, we will tell others to close their Tier 4 oldest card if within 2, 3, 4 years. We have to evaluate because we rank every one of your score contributions and every one of your accounts. We will tell them, hey, close this oldest one because, hey, it's within 3 years and it's a higher limit and it's a Tier 1 and its ranking is more valuable contribution to your profile. Great follow-up.
Very cool. You had some questions.
Yeah.
You want to grab those?
So one of the things that we had, that we were talking about in, I just got back from an event in a distressed mortgage asset in New Jersey. Wonderful event, had a great presentation there, met a lot of great people, a lot of note buyers, right? And note buyers are very interested in being able to capitalize their businesses so that they can write a check and buy more notes, right? And I've always used the metaphor, you can't win a game if you don't know the rules, but as I've been exploring the metaphor, I'm not a basketballer, but I've chosen basketball as the chief game metaphor. But I wanted to pass this along to you because I don't think it pushes the metaphor too hard. We talk about, I changed my presentation to say that your personal profile, optimizing your personal profile is like learning the rules of basketball. And you're in grade school, whatever, you slowly gain all the knowledge of how to play the game, right? But you start high school ball when you start learning, it's competitive and you start building your business profile, your BCID, right? You're making your business fundable. You go pro ball when your business and your personal, not pro ball, college ball, when your personal stats start looking attractive, right? You know the game well enough, you're recruited by a college, and they love your personal stats. They love the business stats, right? Your fundability of your personal profile and your business. Pro ball is when a scout comes and looks at you via an application, comes and looks at your personal stats and says, I think we want this man or woman on our team. Now, every pro sport organization wants the ring, right? Super Bowl rings, the NBA championship rings, they want the ring. That's because there's so much credit that comes with that. So they're looking for players who are going to help build that championship, all right? So think of, but people ask us all the time, so that's all the TM. People ask us all the time, yeah, I got an 820 credit score. And I'm like, that's like third or fourth in priority, right? So think of it this way. When you are considering, let's say a scout came to your game, they're scouting you, right? The lenders are looking at you to see if they want to invest in you and partner with them. A credit score is like looking at the scoreboard. Did they win or did they lose? Did they win? Did they lose? Did they win? Did they lose? No scout looks at whether or not the player was part of a winning or losing team. Just their personal stats. How many rebounds, how many free throws, how many fouls. All the personal stats is what contributes. And you could have a 5-game losing streak and still have spectacular personal numbers. Does that make sense? So your credit score is like the scoreboard. Now, does it contribute? Yes. Because if your personal stats contributes to a winning team continuing to win and be on top on the scoreboard, then of course that score is meaningful. But your score is not more meaningful than your individual stats, how your business stacks up against fundability, how your personal profile stacks up in fundability. That's kind of the metaphor that I came to while I was in the middle of my presentation, right? Is that I don't care whether I'm a scout, I'm a lender, I'm looking at you. I don't care necessarily that you won or lost. How did you show up in the game? Did you play like a pro baller?
Well, I was actually just at the Jazz game Monday night. My brother's in town, so we went to go watch the Jazz. And not as a scout, but as an audience member, in the fourth quarter, they flashed up and they were like, if Derek Favors makes his foul shots, everybody gets free Chick-fil-A throughout the game tonight. So all of us were like, I want Chick-fil-A, I want Chick-fil-A.
Be a pro baller tonight, if no other night.
He didn't make it, but we still won the game. But we were all watching his stats because we wanted free Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. This is this advertisement brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. In no way is it brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
We're like,
we're in no way in association.
And we're like, so that's exactly it. How do my stats stand up, right? And when we look at our individual stats, that revolving accounts portfolio, all over 24-month look-back period, don't they grade players back how consistently they play? If you just have one season of yay and then it kind of dies off, that's not going to help you. Same thing in lenders. Now, while every lenders do not have dreams, goals, and aspirations. They have quarterly profit targets. That's what they get bonused on. They have no dreams. No, they already own hemispheres and private islands, right? So our dreams, goals, and aspirations is what fuels them. Well, if I want to be a Kobe, is he still playing?
No.
Okay, sorry. Who's hot?
LeBron.
Okay, if I want to be LeBron.
We're obviously not sports fans here.
Yeah, sports ball. If I'm LeBron, I have dreams and goals and aspirations as an individual player. Now, does it work if I'm hired by a team that believes in me? Absolutely, but that's what lending is they want to look at our stats and go, we want that woman's goals, dreams, and aspirations on our team. Because they can back up those dreams and aspirations with their stats. And that's, guys, as far as I'm going to push this metaphor, but it is true. They will pick us. They will, if our stats represent. So,
fantastic. Now, Nathaniel has another question, but this is more tech. So, Nathaniel, you're going to want to get a hold of your advisor, and they'll dive into that a little more. Or when we do our Insider Secrets page, Facebook Live, we can answer these questions there. Another question that we've got, though, that comes up all the time is, at least for me, working on the fundability side more with businesses, is the concept or the confusion between a credit line and it's a business credit line. I'm going to get you business credit.
Right.
Is the confusion, right?
Yeah.
And it always comes in as, not always, a majority of the time it comes in as somebody who's doing credit card stacking.
Yeah.
Where they're going to go out and they're going to get you a personal credit card, which while a personal credit card is not a business credit line, but they'll say you can use it for business.
For business purposes.
Right.
And that, hence the either ignorance or deception. I'm not willing to say which is more true.
Right.
But they are either ignorant or wholly deceptive in using that language. Because the low-hanging fruit is the personal credit lines or personal credit cards. That credit card stacking, that's the low-hanging fruit. The problem is it punishes and kills everything to do with your personal profile. You're killing the goose that lays the golden eggs if you get it right.
What's the, off the top of your head, worst example both of you go for somebody who's done credit card stacking and they're trying to recover?
Oh, well.
Without saying a name.
Go.
Craig!
No,
No Craigs.
no Craigs.
We've got a client who we've had since like 2012.
And I love them. I love them.
Souls. We love them so much, but it's just wait. We get 5 steps forward, and then we have to wait for about a year or so until we can pay balances down and move forward.
Yes.
So it's really been several years of working with them, and we've made a ton of progress in those years. But the effects just are so long lasting.
They're so devastating to your credit profile. Using their example, guys, you may have run into this. We run into people all the time who are full of goals and dreams and ambitions, right? We're just talking about that. They have ambitions to become a real estate investor, a note buyer. They buy education packages and they do credit card stacking. They don't know the rules of the game. And so when somebody says, we'll help you right now, get you $50,000 in credit lines for your business. And then it's really credit cards from their personal profile. They don't know this. The client doesn't know this. And these guys are just perfect examples of it. They don't know this. And so they charge them up. They charge to 80, 90% utilization. And they think that they're going to take the education and they're going to go do their first deal and pay off the cards.
And the worst thing is nobody really talks about this until it's already happened to them. Like, ever hear this conversation when we're at events or when we're talking to clients saying that anybody ever warned them that it's happening.
You are being assaulted.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nobody talks about this. They obviously don't teach this in school. Even if you're taking courses on how to do investing, they don't teach you this as how to get funding. So it really hits you blindsided. There's not really a way to prepare for this until you're kind of already in it, unless you're listening to Credits and Stock.
Yeah. So that's true. Go.
Well, yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, that's an example of the long-term impact. We had a guy within the last 6 months, like it was right around that time frame, that came in who had just done it.
Yeah.
Literally just done it. And came to us and said, "Can you help me?" And
it didn't use that exact
not
language.
yeah, no, it didn't sound like that at all.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was, he showed me his credit profile pre this strategy, and immediately after, he went from low 800s, all three bureaus, into the high 600, or low 6, high 500s. That's how badly it destroyed. And then he got into the position exactly like you said. Like, he's sitting there and he doesn't have the ability to get out of that position now, because now he can't do a deal.
And he can't do a deal because the deal, let's say he's fixing and flipping, or he's buying and holding, and he's trying to get a 30-year mortgage to buy out the deal that he just did, and no one will lend to him. Hard money lenders are now looking at, many of them are now looking at this deal and going, yeah, your scores are way too low. I'm not gonna invest in this. So no one's giving him money to buy out the very deal that he thought he would be able to do. And of course, the stages, when I say stages, the real estate and the note buy, many of them don't say, oh, by the way, be careful because this may be the result of credit card stacking, right? Good news is we have solutions that can actually build your credit profile and reduce the total revolving debt. You have to hit certain structures. Like this couple here has to hit certain benchmarks for us to be able to apply them. But let us at least look at your situation, because we may be able to actually flip out of that revolving debt and build your credit profile in the process. We have some spectacular tools that allow you to do it, and that's not even including doing some work on the business side. If you're a client and you opt in for the business funding process, we can use the business to do some of those very same things. So there is hope, but be prepared. You may have. The guy said, "Will you please unscrew me?" Without using the word
that's nice language.
That's very nice language.
Now, let's do this, because you bring up we do have solutions, obviously. How about for 2 weeks from the day this is posted, so whether you see it live or posted, we offer everybody a free, comprehensive fundability analysis that we do for incoming clients.
Yeah, I like it. Here's the thing, guys. Most of the people who are coming in for this fundability analysis have either paid $300, $297, sorry, $300, or they've been at an event and they're actually tracking on having earned this to be free, right? So Brad's saying, let's offer this to anybody who sees this. Just let's look at your current fundability. There's 11, we call it fundability factor, but there are 11 factors that we measure, and FICO score is one of them. So there are ways in which we can see how to help you get out of any holes you may have dug yourself in. And if this doesn't even apply, we can still offer the fundability analysis just to see, hey, I like what these guys are saying. I'm down to explore getting my $100,000 to $1 million in true check accessible 3 to 6% stated income business lines of credit. And if you don't have a business, we even have a solution for that. So,
yeah. Well, and that's it. You bring up another good point. So everybody who's watching this, for 2 weeks from the day it's posted, not from the day you see it, we'll give you a free fundability analysis. But it is the difference between what I started, and I totally derailed myself. The difference between the true business line of credit and even a business credit card.
Business credit cards, you can do credit card stacking with business credit cards and end up with similar results
If you're not careful,
Yeah.
right? The idea, one of the things that is unanimous, I mean, it is ubiquitous when it comes to this scenario, is I will get to the point where this person's talking to me, they've done the credit card stacking, and then they say, but that brilliance of the 0% offer,
oh Lord,
that goes away when
the second
I try to access the cash. Because now I either have to liquidate it in some way. If I'm lucky enough to have a credit card that will give me a courtesy check, it's still not necessarily 0%, even though it might be. Or I gotta pay somebody to liquidate it. And so the 0% goes away, and all of a sudden they're maxed out hitting 20-something%.
Even on business cards, 12 to 15, 18%. Guys, this is a minefield, and if you're playing soccer in it, excuse my shite is going to blow up. It's going to blow up. So we have a whole bunch of solutions. We've got ebooks and master classes and we got things that you can just dabble and see, oh, these guys really do have some awesome ideas about how to make me an amazing borrower, right? Just check it out. Get a fundability analysis. We'll take you how you come, right?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we see this all the time with credit card stacking, and people don't, like I said, it hits them when it hits them. They can't really prepare for it. But on the personal side, one thing that I see all the time, and it's completely preventable, is when somebody goes and gets a new credit card, a new personal credit card, and then they charge it up, either all the way or to 50% utilization. And I just want to scream. Like, I'm
going to strangle you.
That's one of my biggest frustrations. We had a client back in September get approved for a Chase Sapphire $20,000 limit. In the first month, he goes and charges it up to about like 75% utilization, and they close the account on him, and he's like, why'd they close the account? Well, buddy, you just spent over $10,000 on this card. It just puts you at risk right away. So that's completely preventable if when you get a new credit card, you're cautious about what traffic you're putting on it, so that you are using it, but you're also not immediately putting yourself at risk.
You guys, I say this all the time. If you've seen us before, just take it in. You know how we learn at new depths, right? Your personal credit profile is the goose that lays golden eggs. And we have been trained over and over and over to cook, beat the daylights out of, assault, abuse, and misuse our golden goose. The goose that can lay golden eggs of perfect home purchases, fixing and flipping opportunities, real estate, note buying, because the golden eggs end up over here as the result, the funding results of having an amazing profile. Don't mess with your personal profile. Let it be a funding machine. Let it be, I'm mixing metaphors now,
All over the place.
a gold egg funding machine. Let it work for you. It is your single greatest asset. Single greatest asset. Let it work for you. Take care of it. Don't charge it. Get the right kinds of cards that we recommend to our clients, and then do what we tell you to do with it. And let's use the leveraging over on the business side, over on the real estate side, or the note side, or the buy a car side.
Yeah, now, for those of you who aren't investors and you're looking at like, how do I just get approved for loans? These same strategies, these same concepts apply. And will you, Jess, elaborate a little bit on traffic?
Yeah.
What that is?
Great question.
It's not nefarious drug cartel related.
No.
Traffic is putting.
They were always like, edit, delete.
Can't edit life.
Putting balances on your card and then paying them off. From FICO, we got the exact phrase that some is better than none. Less is better than more, but some is better than none.
When it comes to balances and utilization.
Yeah, so you want to ideally have between It's really hard card to card, so it's hard to say right now.
There are perfect balances. There are perfect balances based on the overall metric. Think of a pie chart, and all of your balance and all of your limits create a pie chart. Depending on your contribution to that pie chart, the balance is a metric. But it is not very high. It's usually under 1%, but sometimes it's even way less than that. So
exactly. So it's really different card to card, but we, from being to FICO, can tell what that limit kind of is. Anyway, so traffic is when you put some charges onto your card, and so you're actually using the card. I also, totally opposite end of the spectrum from the client who charged his card up, have a client who has fantastic cards, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, with great limits, but this couple doesn't ever use their cards. They just have these cards and they use it maybe once every quarter. So right now, as we're trying to continue to raise those limits or to go get more credit, they're actually
not to use it, to add it to the heft of your profile.
Exactly. They're getting denied, or they're getting hesitations from the bank because they're not currently utilizing the credit that they've been given. So it also, on the other hand, gives a red flag when you're not using the credit, because the lenders aren't able to trust you to know that if you did charge your balance up, you would be able to pay it down. So it's important to put balances on your card and be consistent in using them.
I'm going to quote the good book
Consistent.
on this one. Consistent. I'm going to quote the good book on this, right? The parable of the steward. You've been masterful over a little bit. I'll give you a whole lot of it to be masterful over. That's exactly what what lenders need to see. They need to see that you can handle X before they ever think of giving you Y. But the beautiful thing is the better your limits and the better your presentation to the lenders. When you're a client and you're trying for that perfect mortgage or that awesome auto loan or business lines of credit or otherwise, we will leverage whatever you're trying to fund. It does not matter. I focus on business a lot because I make a lot of business presentations. It doesn't matter. You can be buying your first home. You can be buying furniture. We will teach you how to buy the best furniture at the best price ever in the universe, because it's all just part of the funding game, right? But we will teach you how to get the best possible opportunities of whatever funding structure you're trying to obtain or get.
Yes.
And then there's that.
I got a call. It was nice being with you all.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, Jay.
Back to what Jessica was talking about, though, with consistency. A majority of, not a majority of, let me not qualify like that, but the patterns you create are critical. So, to use another athletic type metaphor, if you have lifted weights in the past and then you just stop lifting weights, you're going to atrophy. Your muscles are going to get smaller, they're going to get weaker. It's just a matter of fact.
And flabby.
And flabby, yeah. And when you're thinking of your credit cards, that same concept applies, because if you're not using it, then they're not going to, they being the lenders, they're not going to be able to have a gauge of how well you can perform.
Yeah. They're not going to put more weight on you.
Absolutely not going to put more weight on you.
Yeah.
And so you have to use it. Even to simple strategy, just one thing I'll give for everybody. I have one of my revolving accounts on my credit cards. It is specifically for my my monthly subscriptions. That's it. So my monthly subscriptions hit it every month. I have it set up so that I pay not only minimum payments, and there's a reason for that. And we'll revisit that maybe next time.
Yeah.
But leave that out there.
Yeah.
But
don't make minimum payments.
Yeah, don't make minimum payments. But I use that so that I get the traffic, I get the use, the balance, the getting a charge and paying it off, getting a charge and paying it off, so that they see that I'm not only an active user, but a responsible user.
Yeah, and constant.
Constant. My last automated credit limit increase was over 175% of my limit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And as we're wrapping this up, I have to tell you, so I have a bookkeeper, right? Pays all my bills. I thought I communicated all the essence of some of the things that Jessica was talking about, traffic and business and all those things, right? So one of the things that I didn't ground her on was keeping this perfect balance, a perfect balance on my card. So she thought she was doing an awesome job and paid off all of my credit cards to 0, right? We may cover this later. It's definitely in your fundability analysis because that's a factor in how fundable you are, right? But the second we put on that perfect balance, my score went up 20 more points. 20 points! Just by adding, because every one of the bureaus received the new balance amount, and they all registered, and now I was hitting that perfect FICO thing. And we recommend myfico.com. Get myfico.com.
We are not compensated by myFICO. We're not affiliated with myFICO.
We just...
It's the best information.
The 28, you may not even believe this, but they have 28 credit scores, ranging from auto and home mortgage and your credit card decisioning scores, all of those things. But the bottom line is that that's what we track. That's what I track personally. Every one of our clients, we tell them to track it. 20 points it went up by putting on one card by hitting that perfect balance number. So
now,
it's no joke, guys. It is no joke.
And the other thing to that is it's not just the score, right? The score is the
score.
The score is
board.
The scoreboard. Yeah, it's the thing we show off to the world and look how cool I am. But having the score in that situation go up, it's everything that's happening behind the scenes.
Yes.
That caused the score. It doesn't matter that the score went up 20 points. That's cool. But his fundability and underwriting also went up. That's the key.
That great point. And many of our clients focus on the score, and that's why I'm saying the scoreboard is not as important as your personal stats, right? So whenever I talk about score, I'm talking about us creating a fundable profile that undergirds your score. So when I'm hitting my perfect, so what I want you to hear is when I hit the perfect balances, my fundability as represented by the score, my fundability rocks it because lenders are going to look not just at the score, they're going to look at my personal stats and going, oh, this guy's carrying balance. And we'll even show you how to carry a balance without paying interest. What? Balances without credit card interest.
I'll make that note. Now, last question before we wrap up. This is Nathaniel again. A HELOC appears as a mortgage on one credit bureau and revolving account on another. What does FICO score the account for, revolving or installment? So this is a unique scenario with the FICO installment. It's just the coding as it comes out of the credit bureaus.
Correct.
And so it's not as significant a discrepancy as it initially would appear when you think you're looking at installment loan portfolios and the perfect installment loan portfolio with the different accounts.
The part of how different credit bureaus are what we call pass-through bureaus, because there's the major three, and then myFICO buys their data, scores it, and then gives it to us through myfico.com. Well, tons of people do that. Credit Karma does that. Now, they don't use a FICO score, they use a FICO score, which we will cover in a different one of our meetings. But you don't want FICO scores. No lenders use FICO scores. But what they're doing is they're organizing the data. And so a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, is a revolving line of credit that's backed by real estate. But if your credit report sorts out mortgage, revolving, installment, and mortgage, well, or real estate, technically a real estate revolving line of credit, like a HELOC, some bureaus register that as a revolving account because it's a revolving account. It's just backed by real estate. Whereas others will put it into the section of real estate loans because it's real estate backed. So there's that parsing has nothing to do with scoring or value contribution to your profile. It's just how they parse out the data to make it make sense to the user, so they can see, oh, these are all my real estate loans, and these are my other installment loans, and these are my other, because FICO does separate non-real estate installment loans
Yes.
from real estate installment loans or revolving lines, and that's where it ends up kind of getting messy when they try and organize the data.
Yeah, perfect answer. All right, so that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up.
Wednesdays,
we're going to keep doing this.
Wednesdays with wonderful, wacky FICO information.
Yes, that. So we're going to do this again. We're going to keep trying to figure out how much people like it, how much people respond. Nathaniel, appreciate you coming in and giving us some questions.
And
Phil,
if you like
appreciate you coming in.
Like the video.
Yeah, share it.
If this is important to you, we want to keep giving it if somebody cares. If it's not a big deal, if this isn't important to you or it doesn't make sense to you, then we don't want to spend our time. But we really want to get this information out. So just share it. Just send it to your friends. Share the link on Facebook, etc. And let's make this happen.
Change the world.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Best to you. Take care. Bye.
Be well.